how you all doing? Welcome back to my channel. This is my last video that is wrapping up 2018. I'm very excited about it. So I'm going to be talking about my favorite rereads of 2018 because let me tell you, 2018 was a year filled with rereading because that's like one of my favorite things to do. But I've selected my top 6 favorite rereads of the year, and let's get started and let's talk about them. So coming in at number 6 is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. So if you've been living under a rock, you may not know, but the To All the Boys film came out on Netflix in August. I reread the series earlier on in the year before the release date came out for the movies because I just could not wait any longer. And let me tell you, this is the first time that I've reread all of the books, and it just filled me up with so much happiness. These books literally never fail to make me feel happy. Just thinking about them make me feel happy. It's just such a joyous story, and I love the characters. I love the romance, especially. Peter Kavinsky is my everything, okay? I just had a really fun time rereading this series. It made me so happy. I read them all back to back super quickly, and they just filled me with all the happiness. All of the little happy butterflies were fluttering in my stomach. My heart was happy. Yeah, this series is just such a fun, light-hearted series that I just really enjoyed coming back to this year. Coming in at number 5 is Cinder by Marissa Meyer, and I actually listened to this on audiobook this year. It's also my first time rereading this series, and it's one of my favorites. Like 100% Marissa Meyer is my queen. This is one of my favorite series of all time. Going into this reread, I knew that this one was one of my least favorite books in the series because when I first read it, I couldn't really get into it up until around the end. Like when we got near to the climax is when I started to actually realize that I was enjoying this book. It was slow paced and I couldn't really get into it the first time that I read it. So I was excited to reread it because I was anticipating loving it more than I did the first time because I already know these characters. I know that I love them. I know that I love this series. And I was right. I had such a blast rereading this book. I had forgotten so many little details. Also, I feel like what really added to my enjoyment of this first book was the narrator of the audiobook. I've heard amazing things about Marissa Meyer's audiobook narrators. Did not disappoint, okay? This audiobook narrator, I can't remember her name at this moment, but she did such an amazing job at really capturing each essence of every single character. She voices them perfectly, especially little Aiko. Oh my gosh, she has Aiko's voice down, okay? So good. I just have a whole new appreciation for this first book in this series than I ever did before. Like, I am obsessed. I had such a good time. I was giddy the entire time. Prince Kai is my everything. I just had a really fun time rereading this book and listening to it through audio and experiencing it in a different way years after I'd originally read it, and I just had such a good time. If you have not yet read this series or if you haven't reread it, I highly recommend doing both because it was one of the best experiences that I've had with reading all year. I had so much fun. I was obsessed. I couldn't stop listening to it. A++ audiobook. So good. Coming in at number 4 is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by J.K. Rowling. Okay. So I've reread this book a number of times, okay? It's obviously my favorite series in the world. It's Harry Potter. I have a whole bookshelf dedicated to Harry Potter. We know this. But this is my first time annotating Philosopher's Stone, and it was my everything. Okay, I have a reading vlog up. I think it was the Cramathon, possibly, where I was reading this book, and I just had such a fun time. I annotated this book, like I previously mentioned, and it was just one of the best experiences I've ever had annotating a book. I tabbed it, which was super fun. I've done some defacing inside. I got the letter right there. Did I do anything on the back side? I did. I did the other side of the letter right there. But what I also did, which is something that I've been trying to get more into, is I've been doodling on the inside as well. This is my favorite page from this whole book. It's letters all around the chapter header. And I tried to do that for most of the chapters. I might have done it for all of them. I don't know. I haven't been able to keep that up with the whole series, but I just had a really fun time rereading this book and annotating it just completely heightened my love and like appreciation for this first book. And at number 3 is actually a whole series. I'm only going to show you one, but it was the Shatter Me series. This is actually the series that I started off 2018 with. This was the first book that I read in 2018. I had never reread this series before. That is a common theme throughout this list, but I love Shatter Me with my whole heart and soul. I really think this year like reinforced that love for me, but I decided to listen to it on audio because I found the audiobooks on YouTube back when I was still listening to audiobooks on YouTube, and I found the whole series and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. I'm like, Restore Me comes out this year, let's reread and catch up. So I reread them, and this audiobook narrator, next to like the Lunar Chronicles, these are my favorite audiobooks. I've heard some mixed things about them recently. John doesn't love them, which is odd. They're so amazing. I just found that the narrator was so captivating, and she just voiced the characters so perfectly. My favorite voice that she does has to be Kenji. I also really love Warner, but I love her voice for Kenji, and literally anytime I read the books, and I read Restore Me, when I read Unite Me, that is Kenji's voice now. That's how I hear it in my head, and I can't unhear it. I just had a really fun time listening to the whole trilogy, original trilogy, on audio. It was a great way to start off my year. Also this year, I wanted to include this while I talked about Shatter Me. I reread Unite Me in December, and I read this one physically because I don't think there is an audiobook of it, and if there is, it wasn't on Overdrive. But the reason why this one is on this list is, one, I love it. I love reading Warner's point of view in particular. It was so good. But I annotated this one, and if this isn't a running theme throughout this video of annotating, improving my experience, it's a theme. I loved annotating this book. I've got annotations running through the entire thing. I find a page where there's a lot. Like, I just annotated so much, and I also like made little jokes to myself, which is like one of the first times I've ever done that. I mean, I have done it before in like Harry Potter and stuff, but like I did make a joke in this book, and I love it so much, and I will probably talk about it in my next annotation video. But it was a part where Warner was shirtless, and I made a little joke because seeing him shirtless is my everything. But yes, I really enjoyed rereading the Shatter Me series this year. Coming in at number 2 of my favorite rereads of 2018 is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. If you've been keeping up with my wrap-ups this year, or if you just know me, I read this book twice this year. Yes, I did. This is the year that the Simon Versus obsession kicked in. Full speed ahead. Oh my god. So I read the book for 2 reasons. One, because the movie was coming out, and I wanted to refresh my memory on what happened in the book. And also, me, Peyton, and Julia did a live show discussing the book and the movie for our low-key book club, Read and Watch. There is a live show up on Peyton's channel that you guys can go check out. So I reread this book for the live show and for the movie. I saw the movie, and then the ending differs in the movie from the book. I wanted to re-experience the one from the book, so I just like went to the end, the part that I wanted to read, and I reread it. And as I was rereading it, I was like, no, I gotta re-experience this whole shebang. So I just flipped to the beginning and I just read it all in one sitting, and I also annotated it that second time that I reread it. See, there are some annotations there. I don't know if you can see that. Got some highlights here. So like I annotated it. I am just 100% obsessed with these characters and with the story, and with the romance. Oh my god, this romance is one of my favorite romances of all time. Coming in at number 1, my favorite reread of all of the rereads of 2018, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. Let's discuss. So this is one of my favorite books of 2014. I read it before the movie came out. I read it twice in a week. The movie came out, loved it. I haven't reread it since. It was 4 years since I had read this book, and I was really scared that because I'm not obsessed with any of John Green's other works, and I'm not really interested in reading anything else from him, I was really worried that I would go into this book for a reread and not love it as much, and I was really scared that I wouldn't love it as much as I originally did. But I was like, you know what, I still love the movie, so I'm sure I'll still love the book. Obviously I did if it's number one. I also annotated it. I have all these little tabbies in it that I love, and so many annotations. It's again one of those situations where the annotations completely enhanced and changed the reading experience for me. It just added so much, and this was actually the first book that I annotated with like doodling inside. Like I got little tulips down in the corner here. I do have this in an annotation video. It's my part 2 that I uploaded a couple months ago. But like I have like a cigarette drawn at the top, if you know Augustus and his metaphor. Lots of highlighting, and I just had a really great time. I sobbed. I mean, if you know me, you know my love for this book runs pretty deep, and so I was just so happy that I still loved it as much, if not more, than I did the first time that I read it. Probably not more, but like I still really loved it. It just made me super happy and grateful that like I didn't dislike it and like change my opinion on it. Yeah, so this one's my favorite because the experience was super fun. It was a super impulse read. I was not planning on rereading this year, and I kind of just like was staring at it on my shelf and I was like, no, I need to do it. It's just my everything. I can't. I love this so much, and I want to reread it again and annotate it some more. That was all of my favorite rereads of 2018. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a huge thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Comment down below if you guys enjoy rereading and what some of your favorite rereads of 2018 were, if you reread anything. Subscribe if you have not yet already, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!